This conference will now be recorded.
Nice and warm in here.
It is.
I got 6 o'clock, call the meeting in order. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do have one amendment to the agenda, which would be 9G, 460th Street driveway turnaround. I think it's on your thing, but we just need to add that. Everything was good, I just need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Sure.
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment or the agenda as amended.
Second.
Any further discussions, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, passes 4-0-0. Review the minutes from the work session on October 30th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the Monday, October 30th work session.
I'll second.
Any further discussions, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, passes 4-0-0. Review the minutes from our regular council meeting of November 2nd, not the 16th. Brian Graham. Just I know on the actual agenda sheet, you had it the 16th.
Oops. Sorry.
Yeah.
Been a while since I goofed that up.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the November 2nd council meeting.
A second. Any further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, passes 4-0-0. Accounts payable, Joan.
We've sent a couple, 79479 is the number 8 pay request for Schumacher in the amount of $785,603.19. And then highlighting our new to us street sweeper, 79483. And then Rochester Sand and Gravel Patch Mix, 79520 is $4249.50. And the others seem very normal. And I would make a motion to approve the accounts payable in the amount of $823,064.04.
Mike, how's the new street sweeper going? Still working? Not good?
It's doing the job for what we need this
Yeah.
fall. Yeah.
Perfect. Any further discussions or questions for Joan or Kim on accounts payable?
I'll second it.
Perfect, sorry, thanks. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, passes 4-0-0. Thanks, Joan. We'll open the public comment portion. Individuals may address the city council about any items of concern. Speakers must state their name and limit their remarks to 2 minutes. Public comments.
Yeah, my name is Kyle Raftal. I live at 779 Dubuque Boulevard. I received a letter of certification of $440 to my taxes for a previously owed water bill. This water bill I don't recognize. It's from the previous owners who have refused to take ownership over the amount and said with the city that they were going to send payment multiple times over the last year, have not done it. So, yeah.
I was in today, so I kind of know the lowdown on that, but Kim gave me all the information, so I'll let Kim explain where we're at with the situation.
Yes, so in our previous system, when we had final billing, it didn't always pull it up. So the previous tenant, I believe, or previous owner moved out in 2021, the end of the year. Last year, when we got the new system up and running, we were like, oh, there's a balance on this bill. So we sent it to Kyle. He purchased the home in November of 2021. In the fall of 2022, during the conversion to our new software, this overdue balance was discovered. So we made him aware of the overdue balance and that it follows property. As we know that delinquent bills follow property. For example, landlords that, but of course that's different. Tenants don't pay. They are responsible for the bill in the long run. On 4/17, Kyle informed Miranda that he was in contact with his broker to get a hold of the previous owner to pay her bill. So our standard practice is when a property, if a title company requests a title search, we say, yes, there are no special assessments, and I always put the entire billing amount on what is due, whether it's current or not. I say 3248 billed through October 15th, due November 15th. That's kind of my standard procedure with that. So I cannot find record of that title search. We don't generate that. That is generated by the title company. So I cannot speak to if it was done or if it was done incorrectly because I don't have it. On 4/17, Mr. Rafdahl informed Miranda that he was in contact with his broker to get the owner to pay. On 5/15, the previous owner contacted Miranda, informing her a payment will be dropped off soon and she plans to pay the bill off in 4 payments. So and it was about $440. On May 26th, she paid $25. On June 10th, she paid $25. On 8/15, she paid $25.02. On October 28th, she paid $25. So as in our standard practice, anything over 90 days in October, we generate the tax certification bills and send them to the property owner saying, if you do not make payment on this bill by the end of November, it will be certified to next year's taxes. So that is the letter Mr. Rafdahl has on that. Last year, at the end of 2022, when we discovered this, we did say we're not going to put it on certification. I mean, technically it could have been certified for 2023, but we knew that it was, we had found it and we knew that it was a previous owner and we knew that we were trying to work to get the previous owner to pay off the balance. So we have sat on this for a year. We don't go out and collect bills. We don't use a bill collection service simply because we are allowed to put these bills back on the taxes and receive the full amount of the bill when it's at some point. Whereas if we use a bill collection service, you receive a portion of the bill. And again, it is in our ordinance. And so I just needed to know what council's wishes are. I'm not allowed to change billing amounts once they're done. We need to know what your wishes are on this, and we will make the proper adjustments or not as you see fit.
Can I respond?
Yeah.
I've paid my bills every month since I've moved, since I was early 20s. I've always paid my bills on time. I will always pay what I believe I owe, but this was found, first of all, within the contracts, they were supposed to satisfy all remaining bills. She said, oh no, I totally did that. I come to find out, obviously, she didn't. And then she decided to take ownership, it sounds like, for those few payments that she did make. She said, yep, you're right, I will pay this. And obviously it wasn't enough. And then she continued to say she was going to pay, and then she didn't. I even spoke with her, my wife spoke with her, and she continues to neglect the situation. So that's why I believe that I shouldn't be responsible for the amount that the previous owner had.
A little bit, I had a bloody nose, sorry, so I wasn't listening, but in 2022, we did not put a lien on it then to have them work it out. I also think it was a title search that was not done that should have took care of it when he closed the house from previous owners. Is that normally how that goes, Matt, when they do a title search? I know Kim says they do utilities and put that on there. So if there is one, you would pay for that at closing, correct, Matt? So, I mean, we've given it some time. our ordinances, the water bill stays with the property. If we do a precedence of changing it now, are we gonna get repercussion down the road when this other comes up, is my input or my questions or my concerns.
My first thought is that it should go back to the deliverer. And contact you on that.
Yeah, so originally when this came up, that was last year that was brought to my attention. I reached out to my realtor. He said, yep, that's how it's supposed to be. During closing, as part of the contract, they are supposed to satisfy any remaining balances on utilities. So he got me in contact with Brandon Baker, who is our loan officer. He verified that that is correct and that he was going to reach out to their sales realtor to verify what happened. So at that point, they came back and said that she thought she sent him a check, but didn't. The check never arrived. And then that's when this whole thing started. But then we contacted her and said, hey, this is what's going on. She's like, oh, yep, totally. I'm really sorry. I'll take care of it. I'll call them. Called them last year after about a month or something. They said, yep, we've been in contact with her. We set up a payment plan, payment arrangement. We're all good. Didn't hear anything. Assumed everything was fine until I got this letter the other day. Is there something more maybe I could help answer? I guess maybe I didn't.
No, that answers my question. I guess that my first thought is it's still got to go back to the realtor and to say, hey, this wasn't taken care of. As one more try and one more step. I guess that's where I would lean.
Well, and I mean, even if the seller's realtor too, and the title company, which I think you've talked to the title company, correct? And you've talked to your realtor, but is it something have you talked to her realtor or the previous owner's realtor?
So I believe that Brandon Baker, who was the title company, he spoke with the realtor, so her sales agent, and they said that they had a conversation about how she totally thought that she sent that check over to him, but he's like, no, you didn't. And then that's when she just, I think, went directly to her and said, okay, here's what we're going to do. So kind of,
Kim, when's the last date we got payment from the previous owner again?
10/28 of $25.
Of this year?
Yes.
And then what was the previous, before that, was it still in 2023?
It's $25 every 2 months after contact, I think, more than anything. I believe she's out of state. So, we have no formal payment arrangement.
She actually lives in Pine Island.
Does she? Oh,
Yeah, she did. So she's actually moved 4 times in just these last 2 years since we've owned that property.
Because I think we were under the impression she was out of state.
She was, and then she moved back. Yep.
So this 440 is the current amount
That is
due.
the 450, the original was 455.02. I have to look at it to see if there's any late fees on there. I can't pull that up right now just because of the system, some system issues I'm having. We could look at that and remove those late fees if you see fit. I guess my suggestion at this time personally, and since Kyle's here, I think that I would suggest perhaps removing the late fees since this has been kind of an unfortunate circumstance. Perhaps asking Mr. Raftal to reach out to the realtor one more time, ask them to contact us with an amount, obviously. If it remains unpaid by the end of next year, it would basically be kicking the can down another year, but it would give an opportunity to have them collect. Or the other option is to pay it and have her pay him. I don't have any other great answers. I'm sorry.
Have you thought about a claim with a title insurance company? Did you buy title?
Honestly, I haven't thought about, what to do next. And because I thought everything was kind of taken care of, didn't hear anything for over a year until just last week when I received this letter.
This is our city attorney, just for so, and that's what he does, so that's why he's asking them questions.
Sure. Yep. No, and I am more than willing to take any sort of next steps in order to take care of this. If there was an avenue where I don't actually have to pay anything out of pocket for this, that would be the most ideal situation, at least for now. It was, a bit of a shock where, obviously our economy isn't great, so we're like really working everywhere we can within me and my family to kind of move forward.
I mean, to go along with Kim, I've been on both sides of the fence. I would be okay letting it slide, not doing a lien, or give them one more year to work on it, but we've already given them one. Late fees, I'll listen to what you guys' opinion is on that. But I just don't want to start a precedence that we just waive it and then the city has to worry about the $440. But I'm also too, we already give them a chance. And it's kind of a deadline because we have to have it filed by December 1st. So it's something we gotta, normally on public comments, we like to take a week or two and figure out the logistics, but this is a little bit more pressing.
I think we gave from the sounds of it, we gave the other lady a chance. We haven't given him a chance yet as the current owner.
We did because we didn't put the lien on it last year, which still falls on
But
him.
that was due to our own software issue of not even knowing about
We
it.
discovered that it was outstanding.
I mean, it was still overpriced, but.
Yeah.
It was disclosed in the
Okay.
search. So, yes, so we were cleaning up every account we had at that point. So, yeah.
I wouldn't have a problem pushing it down the road one more year just to make sure we do our due diligence. What we really can't do though is the city of Zumbrota, the rest of the people here can't have, I mean, it's a goods and service that's already been bought for, hasn't been
Rendered.
paid yet, it's been rendered, right? So it has to follow the property. I hope that it can get resolved where you personally don't have to pay it, where the previous owner has to actually pay it, but it can't go to, because it's ordinance, it can't go to the rest of the city as their responsibility to pay your bill. Do you see what I'm saying?
And I'll do what I can to follow up with, my realtor, my sales agent and theirs to help satisfy the contract that was originally part of closing as well. And in maybe even having continuous conversations with the previous owner as well to take care of this, because it sounds like that she might already be like down the road, down the path of taking care of it, because it sounds like you said October 28th, I believe, was the most recent payment. So it sounds like that's going the right direction at least. So maybe within that time frame, everything would be resolved.
And Matt, reach out too, if you have any questions, what your next step is, if you need to. And I assume Matt can help you. I don't know if there's fees associated to that or if you can reimburse them back, but Matt can help you with that.
Okay, thank you.
But it's her, so I mean, by taking late fees, we're not really
Well,
affecting him.
yeah, I think you accrue those late fees
Yeah.
up until the point where it's paid. Yeah, I don't think taking late fees off is the way to go right now.
Because it's the previous owner's
They were
issue.
trying to get the
He's
money.
just stuck with it because it,
She needs to
fell through the
understand that $25 isn't going far because if there's a $5 late fee every time, it's not going to go down much.
Yeah, I think if we just extend that down a little more here, like Kevin says, and he can contact realtors and title companies and get that squared away with them. They should be able to do that.
is that a small claims court issue? So he could go to the Goodhue County and file it through there? Is that kind of the way to do it there too?
I would think contact the title company.
The best way? Perfect.
Yeah, and you're going to want to do that. Make sure you do that because in it'll have to be certified the next time,
Yeah, for sure.
whatever happens. Hopefully it works out. But I think that's what I'm hearing from.
So I mean, do we need a motion on that in a second?
Always a good thing.
You want to make a motion, I'll second.
Let's see if I can remember.
Just to waive his
Yeah.
collections or what do they call it?
Waive certification.
Waive certification
Until then.
for
For
2023.
1 year.
For 1 year.
No second.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. Thanks, Kyle. So I think we gave you some direction. I mean,
I will do what I can.
yeah, I mean,
Work on that.
and I would probably start with the title company, find out who the seller's title company and just reach out and say, hey, if this doesn't get resolved in a year, I get stuck with it. So, perfect.
I'll take care of it. Thanks.
Sounds good. Any more public comments? I will close the public comment portion and we'll jump down to 8A, budget discussion. Kim, you getting sick of the budget yet?
No, never sick of the budget. Always love the budget. You have the budget before you, and we are going to see some continued changes. I believe Brian and I met with Ellers today, and they are working with us on the sewer portion of the budget. I actually had budgeted a higher increase on water and sewer fees than what they had initially stated. So we're verifying those numbers, but we're talking through the whole sewer fee discussion and what rate of increase, because our sewer structure is going to be changing with the sanitary district, and what is a fair increase and how do we justify any kind of increases. And one of the things we came away with, I guess, was that we could increase the rates at an acceptable rate in order to defray some of the financing fees, but there are some concerns about how that's going to be billed out through the district. Is it the city is going to have to come up with a portion, or is the district going to assume the debt and then that debt burden the debt service be divided out amongst the community? So Christina and Jessica are going to be working on that with us. It's going to be a work in process until probably the final approval and the fee rate approval, which is in January, but we'll keep updating that for you. You will see that this budget has the increases that we did with the police changes to police budget. And also it has changed to the levy. Remember when we were initially looking at this, our levy increase with those police budget changes, I was looking at over 10%. Right now with the changes we've made, we're down to 8%. And that is the levy increase, not necessarily the increase on property tax owners. At the next meeting, when we have the public hearing, I will have all those property tax increase impacts available for the public, as well as some slides for you and whatever else. If you have any other things you would like to see at the meeting, please let me know and we'll prepare that for you.
Any questions on Kim? Perfect. Thanks, Kim. We'll jump down to new business, 9A, approve the Small Cities Development Program of 2023. Brian.
Yes, we've got Nick Koberman in attendance tonight. Been working on this for a year now, I think. I was looking back at meeting minutes, and so Nick has got a preliminary proposal for us that he will present, and we'll look for an action on that.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Included in your package should have been the cover sheet for the preliminary proposal. And we are looking at, if you recall, rehabbing 21 homes in the city of Zumbrota for a total of $597,713. And then with the leveraged amount, it will total $617,713,000. The preliminary application will be submitted November 29th. I'm working on finalizing mapping and the various minor details that will accompany that. I will send Administrator Grudem the final true full narrative for his review, but I pretty much have that hammered out. At this time, this is what we are seeking, is just approval of the application. Prior to, though, the council making any motions, let's kind of jump ahead to next steps. Probably at a January meeting, we will have a public hearing where we will adopt a citizen participation plan. You will adopt the conflict of interest statement, and then as well as the final application, if we are invited to take part in the full application process, correct? Well, I say this because if anyone is interested in participating in the program, they cannot vote tonight. They should abstain. I believe Brian forwarded on kind of the income guidelines for the program for the number of households, the amount in the household unit. So hopefully if everybody has had a chance to review that, I just wanted to make sure that we didn't vote and then talked about the conflict of interest statement. And then we have to take a few steps backwards. But if everybody's had a chance to look at those guidelines and understand whether they may or may not take part in the program, we could certainly move ahead with a vote to approve the preliminary budget or preliminary application at this time. Are there any questions for me? We look we're very excited about the application. We think it's going to be competitive. There is definitely a need and interest in the community, so we're excited. This is Zumbrotah's first application to small cities. Interestingly enough, in researching Zumbrotah, Zumbrotah is, and you probably folks all know this, it is the only town with the name Zumbrotah. So I've used that because as the deed folks are reading these applications, I'm looking for the little pieces that are going to catch their attention. And they're going to be like, oh, I didn't know that. We should fund this. Absolutely. So.
It was on our telephone book for a number of years.
Oh.
The only Zumbrotah in the world.
Yes, and covered bridge, that was unique as well. So I think it's a memorable application. And so I'll ship it to Brian tomorrow, and then him and I can kind of talk through it. We talked about the various economic impacts and other programs that the city is doing that this may help to spur on, and how those can work together. So
we just need a motion in a second if we want to go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the Small Cities Development Program proposal. I'll second.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-1-0. Thank you for your time and your effort. 9B, delinquent bills to certify to 2023.
Well, we've already kind of touched on this. You have a list before you of delinquent bills. I bring this list to you now knowing that there will be payments on these and this list shall be reduced. So what happens now is if you approve this, I prepare the preliminary special assessment roll with these properties and the amounts there. If they are paid before the November 30th deadline, I remove them. They actually go to the county on December 1st. So that is kind of the process that we do. Every property owner has been sent a letter. If it is a rental property, the landlord has also been sent a letter. So they are aware of it, because if they have a tenant who has an unpaid bill, as we have said, the bill follows property, and I don't want the landlords to be caught unaware. And it is, of course, cold weather season, so we aren't doing turnoffs or shutoffs right now. And if we had the spring, there would be possible shutoffs involved. So this will remove their balances. This will take this balance off their account, and it puts it on their taxes. So that will be, so if say somebody owes $200 on their delinquent bill, if we certify $200, we'll take that off their bill, and their bill will be whatever it is minus $200 at this time.
And that'll be removing the 779.
I would ask that you just go ahead and certify the amount with the knowledge that it's going to be removed, and I will remove 779.
Perfect.
I'll make a motion to approve the delinquent bills to be certified.
I'll second that.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Thanks, Kim. 9C, truck route ordinance amendment introduction. Mr. Grudem.
Yep, I just want to get this amendment, proposed amendment in front of you. First agenda item is just to get your feelings on it. If you want to move forward with it, we'll ask for setting a date for a public hearing and notifications. But what we've got is that stretch from First Street to Fifth Street is not a truck route at this time. Trucks are supposed to take a left and go down to Main Street and then take a right to get up to the roundabout and go out of town. Well, as we know, Main Street's kind of busy and messy down there. And if you've ever seen trucks trying to take a right on the Main Street, it takes a long time. And if we can reduce the number of trucks on Main Street, better for everybody, better for the crossings and all of that. Now, a lot of trucks have been going up to Fifth Street anyway. And we have not directed the police department to enforce that actively as of yet. So what I want to propose is making that portion of Jefferson a truck route. We're not going to have the loud banging and clanking around anymore. It's a smooth road. It's a 10-ton road. It's wider than it was. And it's the quickest way to get trucks from DFA, Comcast, and out there, out of town, rather than sending them down to Main Street. And again, it would just be that stretch from First to Fifth, in and out quick. The bridge is right there. It's a request from a lot of truck drivers as well. I've got a couple of milk haulers in town that I know that every time I see them, they're asking me why they have to drive all the way down to Main Street rather than getting out of town quickly that way. So anyway, I just wanted to propose this, and then the next agenda item, if you're interested in pursuing it, would be to, it's a city ordinance. It's not a zoning ordinance, so technically it doesn't really require a public hearing or notification. But I feel that we should do that in this case. I imagine there'll be some neighbors along the road that'll want to voice some opinions, and I think we should give opportunity for that. So we're happy to notify the owners right along the road that this is what we're looking at, and have a public hearing. If that's your wishes, I would propose setting a public hearing for Thursday, December 7th at 6:05 p.m. For amending the truck route ordinance to include Jefferson Drive from First Street west to Fifth Street. And that involves some signage and some things like that as well, both directions coming in off 52, because right now there's a sign that says you can't go that way down Fifth Street. So we'd have to work that out as well.
Is Fifth Street a 10-ton road?
Yeah, because the state highway.
Oh, I suppose it's Mike, is Fifth Street a 10-ton road? Good point.
That was my only concern about it.
Yeah.
That road probably isn't. But maybe when we do it next, we'll make it that.
Well, yeah, if it's going to be a truck route, but I think efficiency and getting them in and out of town quickly from that side of town. This would be my recommendation, but again, it's one of those things we need to hear the neighbors, what they've got to say, and make a decision from there.
Is there a lot of trucks coming in that route or predominantly just leaving that way?
Mostly leaving. I don't see a whole lot of them coming in, but there's a whole lot of them that go out that way. And that's the other thing. If we choose not to go this route, then, we'll have to direct the police department to sit out there and start handing out tickets to every truck that goes.
Because a lot of them
the wrong
trucks
way.
coming into DFA are taking the covered bridge exit and coming in that way.
Yeah, they come in, but then they go out on
That-
Fifth because they can get out there quick. Yeah.
I'll make a motion to set the public hearing for, what was it, December
7th, was it?
Yep, council meeting, December 7th.
6:05?
Second.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Sorry, I had to think because we were doing 4 earlier. No, you're okay. So we already set that up for 9D, so we'll jump to 9E. East 9th Street reconstruction update. I think Mr. Bill is going to do that.
Yeah, I can start. We've been working on, we talked about paving East 9th Street. We've been talking about that for, a year as well or more. Actually, the requests have been there from all the neighbors for 20 years or more.
Quite some time.
To get that paved, and Bill will kind of run down the timeline here of, we approved a feasibility study and some things along those lines. And right now we are working on the special assessments. We've been meeting with, we met a couple times with the large owners along there that have a lot of frontage, just to let them know what it's looking like. We don't have we're still working on a lot of that stuff. But we wanted to give you an update, and I asked Bill to put together some bullet items. So if you want to run through the things you had thought of, that'd be great.
Thanks, Mayor. So as Brian mentioned, this is a relatively straightforward project from a construction perspective. It's an existing gravel road. It would be widening it out to city standard, curb and gutter, and then installing sanitary sewer and some storm sewer. So that part's pretty straightforward. The tricky part is basically everything else. Everything else is being that's an assessment project, so we have to follow statute. When we do that, we have to follow the city's assessment policy. We have one of the large property owners is not in city limits. So when you assess someone outside the city limits, there's some things we have to do there. We also have a larger property on the north side. That person we've met with them a couple of times, and they said they were not aware of this project when they bought the property from the previous property owner who we were negotiating to work with this project with. She said she was not aware of that. So we're trying to work through that. So to that end, we have met with Councilmember Priege, Mayor Hamel, and we've brought them up to speed because there's a lot of moving parts to this. And we've also met with Attorney Rockney to go over some things. So I'm just going to hit a couple bullets. Really, we're not asking for anything tonight, but originally we had planned that we would bring the feasibility report, which is the first formal step in the assessment process, to you tonight. But we are not ready for that because of some of these various things. So I'm just going to walk through these. So council previously directed, so you actually approved to move forward with the feasibility study, and the feasibility limits were basically the Busy Baby property, if you know where that is, just to the east of 13th and Lally, to the end of where the I always get the name wrong, Christ Lutheran New Ministry Center. So they are paving 460th Street. So basically we're closing that gap of gravel. So that was what we're looking at. In addition, we would be extending sewer to the Busy Baby property. The previous landowner, had a concept plan to put some townhomes in there. So when we build a road, we have to really be thinking ahead, maybe just not for what's going to happen next year, but 5, 10, 20 years down the road, what we would put in. We wouldn't want to build a road and not put sanitary sewer in. So that is a source of contention. In addition, then, the report that we are preparing lays out the steps of the process for Minnesota Statute 429. So how that works is we will be coming back to you most likely in December. I guess some of that depends upon how our landowner discussions go. But what you will do is you will receive that report, and then you will be passing a series of resolutions. And the first thing you do then is you'll have a public hearing, and you allow the public to give you their input whether or not the project will proceed or not. I commonly refer to that as the thumbs up or thumbs down public hearing. Do you want to move forward? Do you not want to move forward? Because the city is initiating that project, that will take a 4/5 majority of the council to move that forward. Okay, if you move forward, then we'll finish the plans, go out to bid. We'll bid the project in theory, April-ish, kind of as when we work through some of these other items. And then you will have a second public hearing. At that public hearing, then we will know everything up until then, all costs are estimates. We will know an actual dollar amount. At that point, then the residents, everybody who's being assessed, they will be able to contest their amount. So the statute says that if we assess somebody X amount of dollars, their property should be worth that much more after the project. So they will have the chance to contest that amount. You are the deciders of that. If they don't agree with you, there's an appeal process where they can appeal to district court. So those are the things we're working through, and we'll explain all that. That'll kind of come as it goes, but just to give you a little bit of glimpse of what's coming forward. So our intent, I'm sorry, not our intent, the city's intent is that this project would be constructed in 2024. That was part of the discussions with the Christ Lutheran New Ministry Center. They will be paving the portion of 460th, which is really 9th Street as it kind of curves around. They are planning to do that this summer, and the intent was to match those two projects up. Next item I had on here was, I guess I kind of already covered, we would be installing city utilities because we have to be thinking of future development along the property. And that's one of the things that one of the property owners has said is, I don't tend to ever develop my property. Well, it's still a requirement that we put utilities in. The previous property owner had already paid for water. For the council members that have been here a while, you remember we did that 3 years ago. We did that project with Mr. Wobig, but we did not put the sewer in at that time, so that would occur at this time. I just wanted to make note, the two property owners, the large property owners that we met with, have both stated that they don't necessarily want to see this project, but there are some, maybe some negotiation could occur, and that we're working through some various options with them. As I mentioned, we did meet with Matt to discuss some of the assessments, some of the challenges. So a couple things is, as I mentioned, the assessing outside city limits. We are allowed to do that by statute, but we have to defer it. We have to defer it till they annex in. So again, just some things to think about as we're talking about different options. We have to remember that we won't be able to collect assessments right away. The second thing is the assessment policy itself. The assessment policy itself is outdated, it hasn't been used in some regards. So specifically regarding things such as side yards. Other than these two large property owners, the ones that are on Dorothea and Anthony Court, they're side yards. So how much do you assess a side yard? Full amount, 75%, 50%. So we will be coming back to you to address possibly changing your assessment policy to reflect, I guess, what other cities are looking at. In addition, sidewalk. How do we assess sidewalk? Historically, we do not assess sidewalk if the road is already there. It's part of our monthly fee that the city collects. But what about when it's a gravel road? So we could potentially be assessing some people and not everyone on a project. So we want to have some consistency. Again, we're really looking at fairness long-term. So we are going to tackle some of these other issues. Yes.
So the reason for that is a stretch of this is already, we're going to resurface from 13th up to the gravel, and those are existing homes.
Correct.
Kim.
Yep.
Just for clarity.
Yes.
We do not have sidewalk in that fee. Sidewalk is not in that fee.
That's not part of the infrastructure fee?
That is not a part of the
That's a
infrastructure
separate, yeah, that's true. Separate. The sidewalk is a
Previously assessed for sidewalk. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But thank you for the clarification. So, and then in addition to that, we also have what we've affectionately called the hairpin turn, out where 9th turns into 460th. The intent is, we have some options really to eliminate that or to realign connecting Jefferson to 9th 460th. So again, then do we expand the project to include that now? Some of that depends upon the willingness of the landowners to, sell us basically land to have right away. So those are all a bunch of things we're working through. And we thought it would be maybe a little unfair to show up at a meeting in December and throw all this stuff at you. So we wanted to get you up to speed. The other last thing is we're also facing winter is coming, believe it or not. And we had talked about, okay, what do we need to do, as far as design? Well, we need to really do some of the surveying aspect of it before the snow flies. So one of the things we talked about was that Brian would direct our staff to start the surveying work for this. So we, again, wanted to make sure the council was on board with that. Normally we would bring an engineering agreement, a contract, but in all honesty, we don't exactly know what we're designing yet at this point. So there's a little bit of a challenge there. And we thought maybe the cleanest thing to do, get the surveying work done before the snow, and over the next month, it should become clear what our direction is going to be. So that's a lot of me talking. Bob and Todd were there.
Yeah, the reason Bob and Todd were involved, they were the original task force when we started looking at this a year ago or a year and a half, however long it's been. And then, some of the logistics with the landowners will dictate exactly what we design. And so those are some of the things we need to work through in the near future before we can give Bill and WHKS direction on what to design. But it's important to get the surveying done leading up to that for whatever they design.
There's going to be a lot of unknowns that we need to resolve in that situation.
One of the things,
this could be a complicated project just because you got township property on one side and you got an undeveloped, it's in city limits part. So, Bob and I were like, wow, there's going to be a lot of decisions.
A lot of decisions, but I think we're trying to make it one step at a time to get these decisions made so that
keep the project moving.
Because we wanted, the ultimate goal, we want to get a paved road to the school out there. And that road needs to be paved just because it's a high traffic road. And I know a lot of them people up in that subdivision have brought that to me. That, hey, when that's getting paved, I said, well, it's not that easy.
And sidewalk too is very important to connect that part of town. We won't be able to do it all the way down 9th Street right now, of course, but we can get it started.
There isn't any along 9th Street right now.
There is a little bit down right off of East Avenue for, I don't know.
3 houses on the
Yeah.
south side.
Yep, and then, but yeah, so this, in theory, would run down to 13th, and then we'd bounce it across at some point moving forward. But that's an opportunity right now too to, like I said, we've been hearing these requests for years on when are you gonna pave the road up here?
And we've had
from all
one
the homeowners.
And we've had one homeowner on 9th Street that is paved, that shot, and I know Mike has looked at it. So.
But a lot more to come. More work to do, a lot more to come soon.
When we have that first hearing, again, just to proceed or not to proceed, and we've already heard of, well, you're doing this because of the church project. Well, in reality, we were looking at it before the church because when Mr. Wolbig owned that property, we were looking at it at that point. We'd already had a series of complaints over the years that just so happened then that Mr. Wolbig sold it and then the church project came. So, they kind of happened at the same time. So I think the people are going to say, why are you doing this now? Well, we're actually resolving a problem that's been there for 20 years.
Right, the church ministry center may have accelerated the schedule on it a little bit, but it was something we're gonna have to do at some point.
Right. Same thing with how do we connect Jefferson to 9th as well? That hairpin turn, and eventually needs to go away or be reconstructed because it's not a real safe intersection. So.
And that would give us opportunity maybe to extend trail up there too, or sidewalk down whatever we design there. That way you're off the trail, across Jefferson, up a sidewalk all the way out, well, basically to the neighborhood So anyway, there's a lot of advantages to this.
What are we asking? No, nothing really tonight other than if you haven't driven out there, please do. Just kind of look it over to see. So when we come back, you guys have a lot of things on your plate, but I think it's good to lay eyes on it. So as we will be talking about it here in the next couple of meetings.
Perfect. Any questions for Bill or Bob?
We're done.
Not me. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Mayor.
9F, Southeast Service Cooperative Board of Directors nomination. Grudem.
Yes, so you approved a membership of the Southeast Services Cooperative at our last meeting, and then Executive Director Steve Salee called me and said, hey, we've got a city opening on the executive board, for a city representative. So being that you spent 7 years on the board as a school board member and have a really good understanding of the co-op, asked if I would be interested in filling that seat from a city side. And I thought about it a little bit, and it's one meeting a month. I think I can do them remotely in the winter when I don't like to drive. But I'm kind of excited to be able to help guide the city. They'll delve into more city offerings. I'll be able to pass along, exactly what cities need as far as offerings go. Mike and I have already talked about some larger equipment, state bid type stuff that we're going to pitch to them. But I just need approval of a nomination from all of you to be nominated to that board. And I don't think there's any other applicants. So I've got a decent chance.
Did you ask Judy?
I asked Judy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she recalls the school board days, and I was on that one, and then I was going back to school at the same time. So yeah, she's been here before. but anyway, it's an exciting opportunity to get in there when they're really gearing up towards more city offerings and be able to help guide that.
No, we took we joined these guys for a 6-month at least free and then reassess after that. Is that our current standing, or when we joined with them?
No, I think we agreed to join for the next year, and we were just getting 6 months for free.
Getting 6 months free. Okay. I was gonna say, if we choose not to renew at some point, I assume you would get
Then,
booted off because it's for members, or you would stay on
probably would be off, but it would be a year after that.
year after?
So it'd be 2 years on there. Yeah, because when
what is it, 2020?
when I decided not to run again for school board, I was able to fill out the next year, unless they had other interested people, so.
Yeah, it's a 2-year term.
Gotcha.
So he'll be to the end of 2025.
I'll make a motion for Brian's nomination.
Second.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Good luck, Brian.
Thank you, and don't leave, because I need a signature from each of you on here.
9G, 460th Street driveway turnaround. Mike?
So since we've extended city limits out past for the Christ Lutheran Ministry Center, we need a turnaround for the plow trucks down there because we don't have a good place to turn around. So I had a quote from Schumacher's in the packet for you guys.
Yeah, so Schumacher's is gonna pave their portion of the road, and we're gonna plow to the end of the paving, which is in the middle of the road. So we need a place to turn around while we're plowing.
Just another driveway spot, or is it a legit?
It's like a field drive.
Okay. Didn't know if it was one of those fancy concreted ones out on 52 now where they got the. All right.
Do we necessarily need a separate driveway, or can you go down to the intersection, turn around, not a good thing? I'm just asking.
We could, that's actually quite a ways down the road, and I don't necessarily, we don't have streetlights or nothing out there. I don't necessarily like the guys turning around, especially if you get one of those storms, it blows pretty good out there. The further we go out, the worse it is.
And this also had to do some with, in our discussions with the Zumbrota Township on signing the annexation for half that road. And this was one of the things they requested was a road maintenance agreement, and this was part of it.
What's the road maintenance agreement?
Zumbrota Township did, yep.
Or,
Defining where we stop and where they stop,
oh,
which is this point.
okay, got it.
Yep.
Making that, no, okay.
Yep.
So this would help define that.
Yep.
Stop.
We go to right where this driveway is and back in, and, yep,
That's theirs and this is ours.
yes.
So would they be using that as well?
Good question. We've talked about that.
They use motor graders through there. I don't necessarily, they go out and come back. I don't necessarily see them using it, I guess.
Yeah, Dave O'Brien does the blading out there, the plowing.
And it is, well, not that it makes any difference. It's on the city side and it's on the Pine Island Township side.
Ministry, the Christ Lutheran Ministry corner of the land there, right?
Yeah. It's, yeah.
Want to make the motion?
You have thoughts on that, Kevin? On this?
It's a good idea to have a turnaround at the end of a plow route. So,
You know that?
yes. I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the this item number that I don't have on that sheet?
9G.
9G, for the total of $6,800.
I'll second it.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 500. Report, Grudem.
Yes, we had the Jefferson Drive ribbon cutting last Wednesday. Thanks to all those who came out for that. We've got some pictures. I think there's a video out there too. And so, yeah, it was good to do that. And yes, we did it on the finished portion. They're still sodding on one end, but it's close. So that'll be done pretty soon. But so yeah, it was good. There was I don't know, some of the public there or citizens there. So that was nice to see as well. I just want to note that Jefferson Drive is still in our ordinance designated as a snowmobile route. And I don't foresee changing that other than to note that they can't ride down the trail. It'll have to be in the road, just the way some of the other snowmobile routes in town. I think East Avenue is a snowmobile route. They ride in the road there, but they always had the lawns on the one side to ride in before. But it needs to be noted that can't do that anymore. Can't be riding the snowmobile down the trail. They'll have to be on the road.
Do we plow that, Mike, in the winter time? Do we plow it all the way from Main Street to First?
The
The walkway, the trail? Because I assume we get snowmobiles on there, that'll eat that trail up pretty bad, so.
It won't last long.
So we're gonna have,
Then we've got the little signs there too that look like snowmobile signs. So it's just want to make sure we note that it's got to be in the road.
Do we
You
have
can't be
to
on the
keep
trail.
that a snowmobile route?
We wouldn't have to.
I mean, where's that trail going? I mean, where are they going?
Yeah,
Over 52 bridge.
keeps them on the edge of town rather than right down the middle.
Well, that might be an issue we might have to address. Will you just keep, you plow that or have your guys, when if they start seeing snowmobiles,
Well, put a notice to the snowmobile riders and then put
And we've got
it on
signs.
Facebook.
We'll have signs.
Say You will get a ticket if you ride your snowmobile on them.
Yeah. Yep. And we're going to have the no motorized vehicles on the trail signs, not the ones that are right next to the road where people say, you mean I can't drive on the road?
Right.
All those comments. But so we will have a number of those signs going out there as well. No motorized vehicles, but you know how it goes. They're used to riding on the side where the trail is now.
Putting it out there.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah, absolutely. We'll get the communication out. And then I just wanted to say that Mill and Sixth Street reconstruction plans are pretty much done. We've got a few things. Met with the superintendent on a couple of things on Mill Street, but and we're going to meet with someone on the one side of the Sixth Street where they've got a garage that's pretty close to the road, and we need to run a sidewalk in that area. So I just wanted to bring that up, that WH Gas is pretty close to being full design there. We'll look to bid that in January, early January probably. So
perfect. Isn't that it?
That's it.
Thanks, Brian. Matt? Chief?
Just mention that Monday, we have an interview for a police officer position. So far, one applicant. Closes tomorrow. That's all I got.
Thanks, Chief. Bill, you have anything else?
Well, Brian kind of covered Jefferson really is winding down, so they're finishing up the sod and striping, and just a comment on the ribbon cutting. That's an awesome project, and I personally feel fortunate to have been involved with it. I did say at that we kicked that off that I went back and looked, and I first worked on that project in 2013. So it's been a long time. So, but I've heard already a ton of stuff from the community about how positive it is. So I think it's great for the city and great for the city council and what you guys have done there. So.
Are they striping that all the way down?
No.
I just saw that by the bank, they did the turn lane, but they're not gonna stripe it all the way down.
Yeah, it looks really nice, really dresses it.
Yeah.
And it's inlaid striping.
Yeah. James? Kim?
Just to add Brian's report, I bet Betty forgot. We have a fire board meeting on Tuesday working on negotiations for participation percentages.
Can all council come to that?
So because you would be or is it a?
I'm not going.
You don't want to? I was just gonna say, if council can make it, I know 2 of the 5 of us will be there.
It's too late to post it, isn't it?
For a regular meeting, I mean, I think you could be there as long as you're not sitting next to each other talking, I suppose. What do you think, Matt? Can I use the 3-day posting?
You want to go to the VFW and socialize, as long as you're not talking city business, right? Bad example, but.
Yeah.
If you're just sitting in the background observing, I think it's probably okay, we can check into it.
But Tara don't want to go, so we're down.
Could I use the
No.
3-day special meeting posting type thing?
But if they can't say nothing really, it's probably,
We're just trying to intimidate them.
Yeah, we can bring back.
we'll bring back the wonderful.
Actually, I'm going to propose that we move fire board meetings here so we can do this, run a go-to meeting and have it videotaped. Because I think it's important that those discussions be heard as well, just like any other meeting.
I don't go over like a ton of bricks.
Well, I know, but.
Just saying.
Anything else, Kim?
That's it.
Mike?
Brought up the sweeper. That new sweeper will probably be bringing that to you soon. They're about 9 months out on the sweeper, but we're gonna adjust the schedule, bump the sweeper up and take one of the plow trucks back. So. But it's kind of necessary. We went back 10, 11 years on this other sweeper and it shows its age. I mean, it gets the job done, but I've had a few issues with it. That's all.
New old one.
The new old one. It's dusty in there in the cabin.
Yeah,
I've seen the masks after they've been in there.
Some smoke coming out from the dash, so.
As long as it's not a lot of smoke, we're good.
But they're 9 months out on a sweeper, so we'll probably be bringing that to you soon.
But like it saved us money because we were gonna spend what, $8,000 to rent one for 2 weeks.
We
got
needed
this
4
one.
days.
So we needed 4 days to pay for it. So we've saved money just by doing that, so.
And you can't find a good used sweeper. There's used sweepers, not good ones. So we've done all the research, Larry and Mike and Kim and I, we've all looked and so, yeah.
Perfect. Anything else, Mike? Thank you. I have nothing. Sarah? Bob?
The only thing I have, I hate to say this, Bill, but they have a little sign repair to do on Main Street. I think the wind took care of one today in front of my shop.
Yeah, thanks.
There's several signs. They have, at the end of the job, you always gotta move some things, do some things, so there's a couple things they gotta do. So I'll add it to the list.
Do it. Nothing else, Bob?
Nothing else.
Thank you. Joan? Kevin? Meeting adjourned.
Don't go, Sarah.
I'm running away, Brian.
I need a drink. I need a drink.
Bob?
I got to sign it?
Yeah. Joan, will you drive me back to my bar? Okay, where are you?
Drive me to my bar?
I could walk, but